What's up, YouTube? I decided to switch it up a little bit today. Come sit out on my balcony. The sun is giving. I'm getting some nice vitamin D in. So yeah, today I want to talk about how to prevent burnout. It's a topic that really can be applied to anything, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have a regular 9-to-5, whatever you're doing. You just always face a situation where at some point in your journey you will feel worn out, you will feel tired, you'll feel overwhelmed, and you'll be wondering, what do I do next? So today I just kind of want to talk about some of the things that I try to do to manage stress, manage the feeling of overwhelm, the feeling of burnout that sometimes we face as entrepreneurs. So yeah, before we get into that, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you are hopping down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys to know, what are some topics that you'd like me to cover. I'm just trying out. This is I won't say it's my first year. I've been doing YouTube for probably a little bit longer than a year because we started our business in June of last year. But I'd say from the beginning of this year, I've been trying to be a little bit more diligent, I promise. I'm trying my best. I don't get up here every week, but just trying to not let too much time pass without checking in with you guys and covering a topic that I think is relevant. So I would love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on some topics that would be applicable to photo booth owners or just business owners in general? All right, so with that said, let's hop in. So like I was saying, I think it is very important to acknowledge that, whenever you are building a business, you can experience burnout, right? The reason why this is kind of critical to acknowledge and try to address and be a little bit proactive is burnout can just kind of stifle your creativity. It could stifle your motivation to where you feel like, hey, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't know how to move forward. I can't come up with any new ideas. I don't know what to do next. So it's really important, I think, at least, to be proactive and thinking of ways to try to stifle that, to try to just kind of be consistently thinking about yourself and building your business in a way that does not cause kind of like this up and down roller coaster of emotion, right? You kind of want to be here, steady state, and continuing to make progress. All right, so here are 3 ways I think business owners should keep in mind, things that they can do to address the inevitable burnout, try to kind of prevent it. All right, so the first way is just to incorporate hobbies and self-care into your regimen. Be surprised how many people, I know I've talked to people like, what are your hobbies? All they do is talk about their business or their kids, one or the other, work, business, kids. Then I'm like, all right, so what else do you do? So I think it's very important to have some type of hobbies and have a scheduled routine that incorporates downtime and self-care. Whether it's, hey, I take some time off, I go to the spa every month. Make sure it's consistently in there in your schedule. Maybe I take time and, take your spouse or your kids out to a movie or something. Something that allows you to unwind, relax, service things that you care about, right? Before you had a business, you had things that you were passionate about, things that you loved that didn't incorporate like work, like creativity. I mean, I guess you could have something like drawing or painting that could be creative, getting your creative juices flowing, but not necessarily work. But some type of hobby. For me, it's like traveling. I love traveling across the world, seeing different countries, experiencing different cultures, trying different foods. It is something that just ultimately brings me so much joy. So despite the fact that traveling requires me to take time off from the photo booth and usually uses up some weekends, I try to take trips throughout the year. At the end of the day, I just end up missing some weekends. And hey, I can't literally work every weekend of the year. So that is my thing. And then if it's just something here, obviously I can't go out of the country every month or every week. Because I enjoy like going to the gun range or going out to eat. I love trying new restaurants, so I do that pretty frequently. Going out to get a pedicure, whatever it is, I just try to do something that allows my mind to get off of business and really take some time to mentally decompress. It leads me into the second one, which is taking time to think. Look at my notes down here. So taking time to think is really important, right? I love John Maxwell. He's one of my favorite authors, and I've read a lot of his books. I want to say the one that I'm thinking of is Thinking for a Change. might be, or it might be the 25 Laws of Leadership. I can't remember which one, but he talks a lot about taking time to think and incorporating that into your schedule. I have to be honest, it's not something that I kind of schedule as often as I should, but I do try to just, hey, if I have free time, I'm just reflecting on myself, taking a pulse of my mood, my emotions, taking a pulse of my business, where I want it to go, things that I want to do. That thinking time is really critical, because a lot of times, depending on, your personality, you might just be a doer, right? Like, I'm a doer. Also, sometimes I can be an overthinker. So I try to be somewhere in the middle, right? Of, hey, I'm spending some time to think, and then I'm also spending some time actually acting on those thoughts and ideas that I came up with. But I would say, as a business owner, you always have to be thinking about ways you can improve yourself, because ultimately you are leading your business, right? So you always have to be growing within yourself, and then within your business, taking time to think about ways you can improve and grow in that area. So I would say thinking time is very critical, and I think thinking of ways to foster that goes back to the first one, is what are your hobbies, or even just finding where do you think best, right? Some people are like, hey, when I'm in the shower, I have the best ideas. I go on a hike and all of these things come to me. I'm driving in the car and I get these new ideas. I just sit in silence. So really important to think about where you creatively, your juices get flowing the best, and try to put yourself in that situation or in that place often, so that you are always coming up with new things, new ideas, always within yourself, trying to stretch and trying to grow. The last way I would say, or the last thing that I would say would be very critical, is setting boundaries. I know that for myself personally, this isn't my first business. I generally would have a job when I'm building a business. So I've had, several other businesses that I was building in conjunction with working a 9-to-5. And I'd say, like, my first real business, I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't take time out for myself. I didn't do most of these things. I didn't set boundaries. I literally would go to work, wake up at, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work, go directly from there to some type of business activity. Sometimes wouldn't get in till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and would do that every day. Weekends, same thing, conferences, what have you. My schedule was literally always busy. It was go, go, go. Still look back on that time in my life and wonder how I survived it. By the grace of God, obviously. I was very young at the time, so my energy level was a lot higher than it is now. So I know that, for myself, I just kind of try to plan in my business, where I'm at right now, is to at least have one event a weekend. I try to stay away from having too many weekends where I'm doing 2 or 3 events, because honestly, for me, it's hard to recover and then go back to work on Monday. So I know myself, and I know what I can handle based on where my business is now. Obviously, as business increases, I would have to build in some type of system to where I'd have staff or what have you to help support, as we're getting to those weekends, more and more of those weekends where I have maybe 2 or 3 events a week. I try to honor the Sabbath for me, for my personal beliefs, and that just means one day a week where I'm not doing work related things. I fail sometimes, but it is what I am striving to, because I do realize that everybody needs rest. So I try to set boundaries. Customers texting or calling late at night, it's like, hey, I'm already in the bed, I'm relaxing, I'm not about to get out to the bed to go do whatever it is they're asking me to do. I just respond back politely, hey, is it okay if I respond to you tomorrow? That is growth for Tiffany, okay? Because I used to be the person that as soon as the customer called or emailed or text, I had to be right on it, had to go, oh, let me go do this right now. You just get to the point where you're just running yourself ragged. So I think it's really important to set boundaries for yourself, understand, what you can and can't handle, a type of schedule that you can, live with, so where you're not completely overwhelmed and overworked. 2 different schools of thought. You hear some entrepreneurs that are like, you can sleep when you're dead. And then you hear others that are like, hey, no, I have to make sure that I get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, or so I'm not productive the next day. So I tend to be from the second school of thought, because I tried the first one and it is not a way to live, in my opinion. So, I want to be here to enjoy the fruits of my labor, making sure, checking in with myself to make sure that I can continue to keep up all the things that I want to do, as well as the things that I need to do. All right, so I would say those are 3 top things that I myself have discovered from my experience as an entrepreneur. Jump down in the comments and give me some ideas and thoughts of things that maybe you do to make sure that you don't experience overwhelm or in taking care of yourself as a business owner, because at some point, obviously, we all will experience burnout problems. So just hop down in the comments, give me your thoughts, give me your ideas. So with that said, I'm going to hop off here because I have been talking far too long already. All right, YouTube, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you next time.